All right, here we go again, everybody. Another Aviators hockey night down here in Fargo. Aviators will be taking on the Fargo Freeze. This is the first time they get to meet this year. We have seen the Freeze play earlier this year. They played right after us down in the Blue Ox tournament. Got a little bit of viewing of them. I believe they took on our other Grand Forks team not too long ago. I believe that Grand Forks beat Fargo that night. So it should be a pretty good game here this evening. Aviators looking to keep up their winning ways. I believe the last game that we played, it was against the blue team, which the red team was obviously victorious in that one. We'll see Blake Baskai taking the net for the Aviators here this evening. This will be our only game now this weekend. We were supposed to play War Road tomorrow, but that got canceled. We thought maybe it was because of the weather or whatever it may be, but it did turn out that they underestimated their team, and they chose to actually play our Bantam AA team tomorrow in Grand Forks. So that game will get replaced by another team at some point, but it won't be this weekend. So this will be the only game this weekend for the Aviators. So a couple days off, be able to hang out in Grand Forks, do whatever kids these days do. Maybe go check out the UND game, which is actually being played right now, and be playing again tomorrow evening in Grand Forks. So that is one thing they can do, but looks like they're ready to start picking up pucks here. We'll get this game underway. Unfortunately, once again, at this beautiful new facility down here in Fargo, the Fargo Park Center. Not great viewing. I did set up before this up in the windows. You'll see up there to the left, trying to get a good view. Doesn't work out too well. You get a pretty bad glare, and you also get a stanchion in between the glass that gets in the way most of the time. I tried down on the far end up top there, but you're shooting through the netting, and that didn't seem to work as well. So, and then I also tried on the bleachers there, but you're so tight to the glass over there that turning left or right was going to be virtually impossible to keep up with. You'd get a lot of lag on the screen. So down here in the corner we go. I'll see if I can't switch ends in between there. I'll always be on the offensive zone. Hopefully the Aviators are spending a lot of time in their offensive zone scoring goals, but either way, we will see. We will get a Zamboni after the first period here, and then nice fresh ice for the last two. You see the Aviators at the far end there, gathered around their goaltender, Blake. They get ready to head to the bench, get this game against Fargo underway. We'll have to see if lines stay the way they were. I believe they will. Things seem to be coming together for the Aviators, moving the puck around pretty well with the lines that they had set up over the last couple weeks. So looks like it'll be the Fiala line coming out for the Aviators. He'll have Jordy Shower to his right, Ryder Blasky to his left. Looks like it's Benson and Jace on defense. Here's Benson, brings it down the near side, tried to cut it to the middle, got knocked off of his stick. Fargo's able to poke that back out into the neutral zone, but we get a quick offsides call here. We'll get a face off in front of the Fargo bench. Mason Fiala to take the face off. I believe we have everybody down here. See, I didn't hear anybody out with an illness or anything else. So Aviators have their full arsenal here this evening. This one picked up by Fiala, dumps it into the zone. Kulak went after it. Fargo trying to clear this one out at the boards, but the Aviators are able to keep it in. Shower feeds it to the middle, trying to get it over to Blasky, but picked off by Fargo. And they'll chip this one up the glass. Kulak dumps it back down in. Aviators will go for a change, but that'll be an icing call. We'll head back down to the far end. Oh, just 40 seconds into this game. It's been all down here, mainly on this end or in the neutral zone. This will be the first time it's been down the Aviators' end. Looks like Seffi's line will come out for the Aviators. She'll take the face off. She She's got Cade and Yana and Owen Berg with her. Berg trying to get it out there, but Fargo with control. They'll dump it down in the corner. Easton Green goes behind his net to pick this one up. He's out there with Charlie Miedema as his defensive partner. This one comes all the way across to Cade and Yana. He'll just chip it out in the neutral zone. Fargo regain control. Steffi putting the pressure on. Now Berg on the far side, but Fargo able to clear it out in the neutral zone. Picked up by Charlie. He's knocked off the puck. Berg kicks that one forward to his stick. Gets it in. Shots it on. Goaltender makes a blocker save. Big rebound. Nobody home there to get off that one, but Steffi gathers it up in the corner. Slips away from one check. Looks for Cade and Yana on the back door here. Couldn't quite get that one all the way through. She gets tied up and knocked down far side. Fargo will chip it out. Bring it now down into the Aviators' end, down the left side. They feed it to the middle, all alone. Backhand sent on. Big skate save there. Outstretched leg of Blake. He keeps that one out of the back of the net. Aviators dump this one down. I don't know if you guys saw that, but the puck was coming right at us. Defenseman just completely gave up on it, and they still give it icing. Should have been waved off there. Not really sure why they went with that one, but either way, we play on. Face off down at the far end, trying to see. It looks like it's the Mason Fargo line out there. He's out there with, looks like wide by and Luke Nicholson. Nicholson feeds it to the middle, trying to get it back to Fargo. Daxon and Nick on defense. This is Henderson with it now. He sends it up the wall. It's a little bit too far for Nicholson. Shots it on. That one goes wide. Fargo gets on it first. Now it's their time for a little zone time. They send it over to the far side, picked up by Nicholson. Nicholson gives it off to Daxon. Daxon back to Nicholson. Nicholson will skate it out. He feeds it over to wide by. Wide slips around one check, dumps it down in the corner, chases after it right here in front of him. Send up the wall, comes to Henderson. Henderson backhands one back down below the goal line. Comes to Nicholson. By gets a shot on. Puck loose. Nicholson trying to tap that one out front again. Fargo trying to get a hold of it. Puck up into the goaltender's chest, holds on, and we'll get a face off. Oh, up comes the Mason Fiala line. They'll have Blasky and Shower with him. Kulak and Baum back on defense. Mason to take the face off. Trying to get them, the wingers to move and get set up right here. Puck down, picked up by Fargo. The backhand one over here to the near side. It'll come up the wall. Shower's able to keep it in for a second, but Fargo grabs it up and sends it out, but poked away there by Shower. Sent out through the middle, picked up by Benson. Benson gets away from one man, feeds over Kulak. Kulak feeds it up, gets it to Shower. Shower down the near side, leaves it off for Blasky. Blasky picks it up, feeds it to the middle. That one's picked off. Fargo sends one through the middle. That goes off of Kulak's stick, so no icing. He'll have to chase it down into his own end. Kulak goes behind his net, slows things down, feeds it off to Benson. Benson backhands one across the zone, comes bouncing over a stick, gets caught up on the ref though. Blasky was behind the defenseman. Taken away here by Shower. He'll skate this one into the zone. Backhands one into the corner. Blasky will chase after this one. Shower looks like he'll go for a change. It's sent up the wall, comes to Kulak. Kulak takes a look, shot. Sent on, but blocked out high. It comes into the corner. Blasky picks that one up. Fiala trying to steal that one away, but Fargo will be able to get out in the neutral zone down the far side. Big hit there by Kulak. Old school hip check into the boards, knocks down the defenseman. Aviators able to send it back out into the neutral zone. Fargo trying to turn this right back. Berg trying to put the hit on there. Now Cade Yana pokes it away. He'll chase after it. Fargo gets on it first in their own zone. Nice job by Yana putting the pressure on here, but Fargo's able to get this one out. Benson wanted to line him up for a big hit, but realized the size difference and just let it go. He would have absolutely killed that kid. Kulak skates this one out. Big hit coming at him, but he's able to shove that one off. A little pushing and shoving back here behind the play. Looks like we're going to get penalties, one on each side here, though. Kulak and one player from Fargo will head to the box. Looks like the face-off will happen down in the Aviators' end. Though it should be a neutral zone face-off when both teams get called for a penalty, so I'm not really sure why we're going all the way down there, but either way, two. We're getting some clarification on the penalties here. Taking one away from the guest, which would be the Aviators, now taking the one off the home. So they'll just be out for 2 minutes. They'll get out on the first whistle after 2 minutes has elapsed. 12:44 remaining here, first period. Face-off coming in the Aviators' end. The Seffi tied up, puck back into the corner. Easton Green gets there. He gets shoved off the puck, comes out to the point, but taken away by Berg. He's going to skate this one through center ice, slips around one defenseman, puts on another move. Shot sent on. That one goes well wide. It comes around the boards to Yana. Yana pushes it down the corner, gets it to Seffi. Berg, far corner. Backhands one back down to Seffi. Seffi takes a look, try to feed it back to Berg. It's picked up by Charlie. Charlie tried to get a shot off. His stick got blocked on that one. Puck bouncing in the slot here. Comes bouncing out into the neutral zone, now down to the Aviators' end, where Easton Green will chase after it. Easton Green gets off that one, slips away from one check, now gets ran into it by another Fargo player, but picked up by Seffi. She feeds it forward, gets it to Berg. Berg down the far side. Knocked off of his stick, but he stays with it. Yana plants himself out front. Berg comes around the net, feeds it out to Henderson. Henderson gets around one man, gets around the second, lost the handle on it, but over comes Fargo, picks it up. He backhands in the corner. That one, Yana pushed down further. Battle for it right here in front of us, but Fargo will dig it out, and they'll skate this one to the far corner. Chipping up the wall, but taken away by the Aviators. Pushed down in the corner again by Nicholson, but picked up by Fargo, and they'll work it up the wall. Fargo out into the neutral zone. A little miscommunication as they go for a change there. Henderson takes it away, feeds it over to Nicholson on the far side. He backhands one, leaves it off for Wyatt. Wyatt sends a shot on that one, whistled just by the post. Henderson slides down, lost control of this one. Back goes Fargo. Daxton, the lone man back. Henderson hurrying to get back. Daxton pokes that one into the corner. Now ties him up. Battle for it along the boards. Backhanded back over to the near side. Wyatt slides down to grab this on the side wall. He elects to backhand one back down below the goal line. Fargo gets on it first. Henderson kicks a player off the puck there. Fargo feeds it up to Bai. Bai lost the handle on it. Fargo gets control of it. High slot shot sent on. That one gets blocked. Never made it to Blake. They ring one up to the point. They go D to D here, but it comes out into the neutral zone. Wyatt putting some pressure on here. Fargo trying to get this one out of their own zone. They brought it in. Now getting trapped here a little bit. They'll send one high off the glass. That'll go down to the Aviators' end. Won't go for icing, though. Blake will come out and play this into the corner. Hands it off to Benson. Benson behind his own net. Looks like he's going to elect to skate this one. Got caught up on Fiala there right in front of his own bench. Fiala tries to dig it out. Sent all the way down. No ice here. Come behind the bench. Sent over to the near side. Fiala, Blasky getting on this one. Overskated that one. Fargo regains control. They'll send it through the middle. This will be far side. Looks like that one will actually go down for icing. And we get an icing call. So face-off coming back down in the Fargo end. 9:48 remaining here. First period. Still 0-0 between the Freeze and the Aviators. Fiala's line out there for the Aviators. He's got Shower to his right. Benson and Jace will be the defensemen. Fiala's setting up to win this one back. Gives it over to Blasky. Blasky to Benson. Benson through a traffic. Shot sent on. That one rolls just by the far side. Went off a Mason skate. Comes over to Blasky. Blasky sets up. Tries to hand it off to Benson. Turns. Fires it down low. Trying to get it to Shower, but picked off by Fargo, and back they come. 2-on-1 if they hurry. Kulak, the lone defenseman, back. Nice job by Benson to get back to break that up, but Fargo still has it in the zone. Over to the far side. Shot sent on through traffic. Blake makes a blocker save with that one. Kicks it into the corner. Back up to the point. Knocked down with a high stick, but Aviators touch it next. Push forward there by Shower. Up to Kulak. He got rammed against the boards there. Lost the puck. Fargo trying to get this one out. It comes out to Kulak again. He sends one forward. Dumps it into the zone. Fiala will chase after this one. Fargo works it out the far side of the zone. Now in the neutral zone. Stretch pass through the middle. Knocked down by Fiala. Fargo sends it back over to the far side. Shot sent on. That one whistles into the corner. Picked up by Benson. Benson lost the handle on it. Fargo with it. Over to the near side. Now it's Yana trying to get it out. Fargo steals that one away. They work it down below the goal line. Knocked away by Fiala. Fiala tries to send it up the wall, but that was blocked. Comes out front where it's picked up by Kulak. Kulak feeds one forward, gets to Berg. Berg slows it down, slips away from one defenseman, hands it off to Yana, but it was a little bit behind him. It comes over here into the near side. Battle for it along the boards. Berg bumps one player, but Fargo still has it. Misplayed there by Fargo. Zeppi steals this one away. Orcs out front. Here's Berg. Shots in on. Goaltender makes a save. Another attempt. Goaltender makes a save. But the net comes off, and we'll get a face-off. A couple great opportunities out front there for Owen Berg, knocking pucks out of the air, but can't get one past the goaltender. Net comes off. We'll get a face-off. 7:59 remaining first period, 0-0. Zeppi take the face-off. Bouncing puck. Zeppi trying to settle that one down. It comes off the back wall, loose here. Zeppi backhands one on. Goaltender makes the save. Sent off the wall. It comes out to the point. It comes to Easton Green. He chips one up the glass. Comes to Zeppi. She puts her shoulder into that one. As Fargo gets it. They're going to skate this one up the near side boards. Over comes Berg. Slows that down. Zeppi tries to pickpocket the Fargo player. Gets bumped up along the boards, but Fargo will get out in the neutral zone. Picked up by Berg. Sends it to the far side to Miedema. Miedema off the wall. Trying to get it up to Yana. That was a little bit too far for him, and Fargo pushes this one up the blue line. Now they'll just dump it down into the Aviators' end where Easton Green will chase after it. Over into the far side corner. Fargo takes this one away. That one shot up high over the net. Puck comes down to the near side blue line. Picked up by Fargo as the Aviators go for a change. They'll turn this one right back, go into the zone. Down the far side corner. Miedema trying to defend. Big hit there by Mason. Fargo, arm goes up. We're going to get a penalty here for a roughing on Mason Fargo. So a power play opportunity comes for Fargo here. Not sure if that was really a roughing, but it obviously does work when there's a huge size difference. Mason Fargo with about a foot of height compared to the kid he hit. Obviously put him into the boards pretty hard. So 2 minutes goes up on the board. Face-off coming down in the far end. Nicholson to take the face-off. He's out there with wide by. Looks like Henderson and Norby will be defensemen. Tied up, kicked back. Fargo has control. They set up their power play in the zone. They send it behind the net. Looks like Henderson will get on it first. He backhands one up, gets it up to Wyatt. Wyatt carries this one out. Tries to send one on net. That goes off his stick, ends up going behind the net. Nicholson there. Puck comes bounce out front. Here's Daxon. Shot sent on. Goaltender stuck a leg out. I think it got stopped before it got to him. And Fargo turns it right back and heads down into the Aviators' end. Down in the far corner. Daxon trying to steal the puck away. They stick with it. Now they feed it out to the point. Nice job by Wyatt there. Got a stick down. Block that puck out into the neutral zone. Now turn back. Henderson steals it away. He's going to skate this one forward. He's got a little bit of space and a head of steam. Trying to cut through the defense. Makes a move. Trying to get a backhand off. Had an opportunity, but couldn't quite slip it past the goaltender. Fargo regains control. Wyatt. Fiala and Daxon playing defense. Nice job by Fiala there to steal that one away, but it looks like it went off a glove of an Aviators player in the bench, so we'll get a whistle and a face-off. Should be just outside of the zone down there. I don't know why this thing's not focusing. All these marks on the glass here are causing me problems, but we'll try to get it focused here in a second. Zoom out. Away from the play, maybe a little bit, I'm not sure. Let's try a different pane of glass. There we go. That should be a little better, even though it's way down there. But Fiala trying to poke this one out. Looks like it ended up going offside, so we'll get a face-off. Face-off right in front of the Aviators bench. Fiala and looks like Shower will be the forwards. One by Fiala. He skates this one forward, dumps it down into the zone. This one will go behind the net. Goaltender will pick this one up. He leaves it off for his defenseman. They feed it over to the near side. Comes out to the blue line. Benson defending, but Fargo's able to push it down into the Aviators' end. Kulak will go after this one. Sent over to the near side. Fargo keeps it down low, but gloved by Benson. Bouncing puck comes rolling in on Blake. He gets a glove on it, holds on, and we'll get a face-off down in the far end. 14 seconds still left on the penalty to Mason Fargo. 5:14 remaining in the first period here. Shot shown in favor of the Aviators, 5-4. But score remains 0-0. Looks like it's Seffi and Owen Berg out there for the Aviators on forward. Kulak and Benson on defense. Tied up, sent back to the point. Fargo has control. They work it to the middle, now drop it off. Shot sent through traffic. That hits one of their own players. They work it down into the corner. About 5 seconds left on the power play. From the corner, they try to feed one out front. That never made it out front. Comes to Berg. Berg feeds one forward, trying to hit Yana. As he comes off the bench, comes in on the goaltender, lets it go. Looked like the goaltender touched it, but either way, they called icing, and we'll head back down to the far end. Looks like it'll be on the far side of the Aviator zone. 4:51 remaining here, first period. Back to 5-on-5 hockey. It'll be Seffi's line out there for the Aviators. Kulak and Benson stay out as defensemen. Fargo called for a face-off violation. This one pushed down in the corner, picked up by Kulak. Kulak goes behind his net with a head of steam. He'll come up the near side, works it to the middle. Had that one taken away, but does get it into the Aviator, or excuse me, into the Fargo end. Now down into the corner, trying to steal this one away. Seffi backhands one out front. That goes off a skate. Now comes the Yana at the point. Shots in on through traffic. Knocked down by Berg. Seffi trying to get control of it. Comes loose. Fargo picks it up. Yana bodies the player off. Berg loses an edge, goes into the boards. Fargo gets control of it. The backhand went over to the near side. Sent to the middle. Big hit there by Berg. Keeps that puck in the zone, but Fargo gathers it up, and they'll bring it out in the neutral zone. Where it's picked up by Benson. He's got some space. Works it to the outside, gets around one man. Shot sent on. Goaltender makes a blocker save. Goes off the glass. Picked up by Berg. Berg pushes it back down low. Here's Mason Fargo. Out front, Caden Yana had him wide open with a wide open net to look at, but it slipped just off his stick. And Fargo sends it all the way down for an icing, and we'll get a face-off back down here in the Fargo end. A big opportunity there for the Aviators, but just off the heel of Caden Yana's stick. Otherwise, he would have had wide open net to shoot at. Good vision there by Mason Fargo. Could have took the shot, but found Yana. Just unfortunate bounce off the stick. Mason Fargo to take the face-off. Tied up at the dot. Fargo gets on it first, sent up the wall, comes out to Miedema. He keeps it in. Now another opportunity. Here comes Nicholson out of the corner, feeds it out front, trying to find by. Now sent through the legs of Wyatt. Fargo gets control. They go behind their own net. Wyatt trying to get there first to the far side. They send it up to the point where Miedema keeps it in. He backhands it back down the wall. Back out to the point, kept in by Miedema. Fargo pushes this out. Here's a 2-on-1 opportunity. Easton Green, the lone defenseman, back. Nice job of defending, forces him into the corner. Pass out front's taken away by Nicholson. He feeds it out into the neutral zone, but that's offsides on Fargo, and we'll get a face-off outside the zone. 3:12 remaining here in the first period. 0-0 still. Shots haven't changed. Fiala's line comes out for the Aviators. Mason to take the face-off. Jordy and Blasky on his line. Daxon and Nick are the defensemen. This one comes to Daxon. He sends it up the wall. Fargo gets control at their own blue line. They go D to D. Now back again. They'll work this one back on the neutral zone. Down in the Aviators end on the far side. Shots in on, gloved easily by Blake. Holds on, and we'll get a face-off in the far end. 2:57 to go first period. Still 0-0. Shots still showing 5-4, although there's been a few shots. Now they're making adjustments. It's a 7-6 now. Face off one back by Fargo. Opportunity there for them to get a shot off. Whiffed on that one. Here comes Daxon down the near side. Cuts to the middle. Brings it into the zone. Tries to push it in the corner. He'll stay with it. Into the corner. Blasky comes over to help. Blasky with it. Trying to use his body. Feeds it out front. Try to get it Shower. Shower got a stick on it, but pushed it just wide. Fargo trying to get this one out. Goes off of Fiala's stick. They'll grab this one. Bring it out in the neutral zone, but taken away by the Aviators again. Here's Shower. Slips away from one man. Chips it off the wall. Too many men there. And here's Fiala. Works it across the top of the zone to the far side. Backhands one into the corner. Blasky goes after it. Fargo brings it over to the near side. Now they ring it around to the far side. Picked up by Fiala off the wall. He turns, looks, fires it into the corner to Blasky. Blasky feeds it to Shower. Cycling going on here. Blasky feeds it over to Fiala. Fiala tried to get a shot off. Whiffed on that one. Puck in the middle. Henderson slides up, keeps it in. Fargo's going to try to backhand this one up. It comes to Fiala along the boards. Fiala spins, trying to hold on to the puck. Backhands one over to Henderson. Henderson will chase after this one. Loose stick on the ground. Knocked that one away a little bit, but Henderson stays with it. Feeds it to Fiala in the middle. As a guy coming from behind, stole that one away. Fargo will feed this one out into the neutral zone. Bring it down into the Aviators' end, but knocked away by Henderson. Feeds it up to Fiala. Fiala through the middle. Gets it up to Berg. Berg brings in his zone. Loose puck, though, trying to get a hold of this. Shot sent on, but whiffed a little bit there by Blasky. Fargo gets control. They'll feed it to the far side, and back out of the zone they go. Now sent over to the near side. Shot sent on. That one went off a stick high and over Blake's head. Berg will try to get to this one first. He does poke it on the neutral zone. Gets by the defenseman. Brings it down the far side. Slows things down. Shot sent on. Got through the arm of the goaltender, but went just wide. Fargo gets control of it. They'll ring it around to the far side. Stick still loose over there. Getting in the way of a couple players. Fargo gets control. Berg trying to steal this one back. They'll push it on the neutral zone where Benson will gather it up. Under a minute to play here. About 47 seconds to go. Benson lost control of that one. Steals it back. Seffi in there trying to help out as well. But Fargo gets control. They have an opportunity here. Shot sent on. Fed up front. Benson stops that one. Puck comes out to the point. Fargo keeps it in. They work it down low. Now back out to the point. Seffi steals that one away. She'll skate it out of the zone with some speed. Try to feed it over to Berg, but had that one stolen away from him. Kulak feeds it down into the zone. Fargo gathers it up. They feed it through the middle. That one splits everybody. It'll go all the way down. Kulak chases after this one, but it'll go for icing, and we're going to face off back down here in the Fargo's end, but only 3.7 seconds to play, so Aviators will have to work quick here. They want to try to poke one in before the end of the period. Looks like face-off will come right here in front of us, so we'll pan over a little bit. Mason Fargo was going to take the face-off, hands it off to Wyatt By. Wyatt ties that one up at the dot, trying to get a shot off. Puck comes into the corner, but that's the end of the first period. So we will get some fresh ice. Take a little break, talk things over in the locker room, come back out, play a couple periods, and see who wins this game. Should be a fun one. Shots showing 8-6 in favor of the Aviators, but 0-0 after one. Back and forth hockey, both teams having their opportunities. Aviators would say it leading in the scoring chance column by just a few, but should be a pretty fun game here for the next two periods. We'll take a short little break as we get fresh ice, and we'll be back in about 10 to 15 minutes. All right, here we go. Second period about to get underway. Aviators and the freeze back out on the ice, stretching things out, getting ready here for the second period. 17 minutes up on the board. Just talking with a few parents. Try not to be too biased. I mean, obviously we are cheering for Grand Forks and want to see our kids win or whatever, but we all kind of agree that it seems like the Aviators are just kind of letting Fargo in this one. Like we're not pushing the pace too hard, just kind of allowing Fargo to hang around a little bit here. A few of the parents thought we should be up maybe a goal or two by now, but obviously it's Friday night, cold, wind blowing night in North Dakota. Kids had to make an hour-long drive down here, not basically right after school, but somewhat, and coming out a little slow. So hopefully the Aviators can get it going here in the second period, start getting some shots on in tight. Obviously the Fargo goaltender has played very well, keeping the puck out of the net, made some big saves down there, but Aviators haven't got a lot of solid scoring chances. A couple, but let's see if the Aviators can get things going here as Fiala gets ready to take the face off at center ice. His line will start this one out. Kulak and Benson will be the defensemen. Fargo wins this one back. They bring it in their own zone. They go D-to-D. Benson slides up, try to take this one away. Fargo pushes it down into the Aviators' end, where Kulak will pick it up in front of his own net. Sent off a stick and out of play here, so we're going to face off right here in front of us. Well, we'll take the face off here. Blake, obviously in net still for the Aviators. Face off, one back here. Fargo with it. Comes to the blue line. They just send it down into the corner. Benson will grab this one. Over to the near side, picked up by Kulak. Feeds it up to Shower. Shower got it out to the point. Now feeds it forward, gets it out in the neutral zone, gets up to Blasky. Blasky tried to feed one to the middle to Fiala, who was all alone, but it went off a skate. And there's a battle for it here. Shower gets upended. Fargo gets on this one first. They'll work it out into the neutral zone, backhanded up here. Kulak slides over to steal this one away. Works it up the boards. It'll come out to the blue line, but not out. Fargo will keep this one in. Arm goes up. Penalty coming here to Kulak. Let's see what they're talking about here. Maybe a targeting to the head penalty. This could be an extended penalty here for Fargo. We got 2 minutes up on the board already, but obviously the refs haven't gone over there and made the call yet, so we'll see what happens here. This could be a 5-minute major, possibly a 2-minute minor with a 10-minute misconduct. We'll see what they decide here. They're still talking it over. Ref will head to the bench. Calling a high stick here. Motion that. I think one ref was saying it might have been an elbowing to the head. The other one saying high stick. So high stick and call it will be. 2 minutes up on the board. Looks like it'll stay that way. No major called. Although both Fargo coaches shaking their head. They don't seem to be happy that, but either way, it'll be a power play for Fargo. Yana to take the face off. I'm loving this ref. All he does is he screams at the kids what to do, but does it politely. Big save there by Blake. Another one on a rebound attempt. Fargo wraparound attempt. That goes off the side of the net. Charlie pushes it over. He'll use his body to send this one up the wall here. Comes up to the point, but Fargo keeps it in. They work it back up. Now backhanded down in the corner. Charlie will come after this one. He rings it around to the far side. He just got elbowed right to the face. No call on that one. We're going to face off right here in front of us. Caden Yana, Sefi are the forwards. Easton Green and Charlie Minima will be the defenseman. Yana to take the face off. Tied up, one back, picked up by Minima. Goes behind his own net, sends one off the wall. That'll come out to the point. Fargo spins around. They send it to the middle. That goes off a Sefi skate. It stays in the zone. All alone over here is a Fargo bear, but it comes loose in the slot. Easton backhands one up, but it doesn't come out. Yana picks it up. He feeds it out of the zone. Fargo still with control of it, though, and they'll send it right back in. Send up to Yana. Yana through the middle. Not sure what his plan was there. That one ended up going all the way down. He had Seffi in the middle. I don't know if it rolled on him and ended up going all the way down. But either way, it's an icing call. We're going to face off back down here in the Aviators' end. 58 seconds left on the power play for Fargo. Owen Berg. Ryder Blasky will be the forwards. Henderson. Jackson will be the defenseman. Blasky takes the face off. One back by Fargo. They split the D. This one goes all the way down. Henderson chases after it. Looks like he got behind the D, trying to use his body, leans into it, gets it around. Got a shot off. Goaltender made a save. Henderson got another chance, sent right into the stomach of the goaltender. He holds on, and we'll get a face off. So 48 seconds here to go on the power play for Fargo. A shorthanded opportunity there for the Aviators. Leads to a face off in the offensive zone. Blasky to take the face off. One back by Fargo. They go behind their own net. Sent up the sidewall, breakout attempt, gets blocked, but they do make it out in the neutral zone. Henderson sticks that one up. Blasky with it, turns, fires, sends one on off the back of Berg. It comes back to Blasky. Blasky sends one all the way down. That one will go for icing. And we'll get a face off here back down on the Aviators' end. Not sure. I don't know if that's something they talked about, just icing the puck. It does kill some time. Doesn't allow Fargo to set up, but Aviators done it twice now. Blasky will take the face off again. Fargo wins this one back to the point. They set things up, work it to the middle. Now over to the far side wall. They look for this guy shooting down the backside. Shot attempt goes off a stick. This one, Daxon clears out to the blue line, but not out. Comes down the sidewall. Fargo with control again. They feed it over to the far side. They keep the puck up high. Work it to the middle. Shot sent on through traffic, but that's gloved by Blake. He holds on, and we're going to whistle. Only 9 seconds left on the power play here. Shot showing 9-9. There's 14 minutes and 18 seconds left to go in the second period. Game still 0-0 though. Aviators struggling to get anything going here. Also stuck in the box. Nicholson and Fargo arguing to see who will take the face off here. Looks like it'll be Nicholson. Miedema and Benson will be the defensemen. Face off one back by Fargo. They work it to the middle. Shot sent on through traffic. That one got all the way through, but missed the net. Now we're back to 5-on-5 hockey as Fargo still has control here in the corner. They feed it back behind the net. Reffing our way here. Fargo trying to work this one out front, but they keep it down low. Big hit there by Fargo, knocks down a Fargo player. Sent over into the far side corner. Miedema gets there first. He feeds it up, gets it to, By. By feeds it up to Mason Fargo. Mason around one defenseman. Brings it in. Shot sit on. Goaltender makes the save. Puck loose. Gets a stick on it, but the goaltender holds on, and we'll get a face-off. A little pushing and shoving behind the net there. It looks like cooler heads prevail, and we'll get a face-off the far side of the Fargo end. So Aviators able to kill that penalty, get back 5-on-5. Looks like it'll be the Mason Fargo line will stay out there. He's got Wyatt to his left, Luke to his right. Be Jason Benson on defense. 13:42 remaining here, second period. Tied up at the center, at the dot. Wyatt will dig that one out, down into the corner. He feeds it up the wall, trying to get to Benson, but stolen away by the Fargo player. Back he comes. Nice job by Kulak. Knocks that puck away. Fargo still with control, though. They send it through the middle here. That's off a stick. It'll roll in on Blake here. He looks to set this up, feeds it over to Benson. Benson brings it back towards his own goaltender, has it stolen away. They send it through the middle. That one goes to the far side, where it'll be picked up by Wyatt. He overskated the puck, stolen away by Fargo. They feed it back out to the point. Sent back down the corner. Benson comes over, steals that one away. He's got some space. He'll skate this one forward. Working on the defenseman, goes around him, down into the corner, works it towards the net. Shots in on, goaltender makes the save. Benson got a second opportunity, but it couldn't get it up and over the pad of the goaltender. This one pushed down below the goal line. Fargo gets on it first. They send it up the wall. They'll elect to just send this one down for icing. And we'll end up back down in the Fargo end for a face-off. That one fired down by Blake. Pretty much online. Drifting a little left, but accomplishes his goal. And the Fiala line will come up for the Aviators. Mason to take the face off. Charlie and Easton will be the defensemen. Face off one to the sidewall. Blasky bumps a Fargo player off the puck. Picked up by Shower. Knocked away from him. Looks like it'll stay in the zone now. Actually, now it comes out in the neutral zone. Charlie steals that one away. Fargo brings this one forward, though. Pinballing around here. This one sent out to the point. Fargo will keep it in. Shot sent on. That one gets blocked by Blasky. Picked up by Shower. He feeds one forward. That comes to Blasky. Blasky behind the defense. Trying to get a handle on this one. Shot sent on. Goaltender makes a save. Fargo clears it out to the blue line. Kept in by Charlie, but looks like it went off the glove of an Aviator on the bench here again. We're going to face off just outside the zone in front of the Aviators bench. 12 minutes, 15 seconds to go here, second period. Fiala's line still out there. Charlie and Easton still in defense. Fargo trying to float a defenseman out wide there. They win it back. They send it up the near side wall, though. Shower takes that one away. Backhands it down into the corner. They'll chase after it. Blasky coming around the far side of the net, trying to steal that one away, but Fargo's able to chip it up the wall. Comes loose, comes to Fiala, drops it off for Green. Green shot through traffic, gets blocked. Fargo trying to chip this one out. Easton's able to keep it in. He sends it down in the corner where Blasky will pick it up. He works it up the sidewall, backhands it through the middle. That one gets stolen away by a Fargo player. Comes back to Blasky. Blasky trying to feed the point, but got blocked. This one comes loose over to Mason Fiala on the near side. He sends it off the wall, comes out to Charlie, but chipped out by a Fargo player. Race for it. Easton trying to get back. Fargo comes barreling down in on Blake, trying to slip past him. Big leg save there by Blake. Keeps that one out of the net. Puck loose behind the net. Picked up by Easton, trying to battle to get this one out. Stuck underneath a Fargo player. Big leg save there by Blake. Keeps that one out of the net. Battle for it right here in front of us. Couple Aviators. One Fargo player. Puck comes loose. It's pushed out front. Easton will chase after that one on the far side. Gets to it. Chips it out. Fargo with control again. No. Aviators were going for a change there. Seffi's out there now. Here comes Owen Berg as this one comes to the near side. Fargo still with control. That one comes out to the point. Berg comes over, trying to tie his man up. Down he goes. Berg blocks it as he was laying on the ground, though. Fiala pushes a Fargo player off the puck. Tied up on the far side. Seffi comes in. Fargo gets control. They're trying to feed this one out front. Now they feed it back to the point. Sent down the sidewall. Fargo with it. Working around in the zone. Seffi battling, trying to get this one in the far corner. Looks like she'll be successful, but a shot through traffic. I don't know how Blake saw that one. Was able to get a blocker on that one. Keep it out of the back of the net. Aviators able to clear it out in the neutral zone. Fargo with control. They'll chip it up the wall. Comes into the Aviators' end. Here's Easton Green. Tries to slap shot one down. This one picked up by Seffi now by Berg. He'll skate down in the corner. Trying to get around the defenseman. Big hit in the corner. Fargo gets on it first, though, and they'll ring this one out. Jackson will chase this one down. He turns, fires one over the near side. This will be picked up by Henderson. Henderson feeds one through the middle. Big collision there. It'll be picked up by Berg. Brings it into the zone. Pace starting to pick up here. Berg gets around. Shot sent on. Goaltender makes the save. Another opportunity. Bouncing puck ends up behind the net. Berg without a stick kicks that one loose. Seffi, or excuse me, that's Caden. He gets knocked down. Comes out in the neutral zone. Picked up by Henderson. Henderson makes a move, pushes it forward, still with it, skates it forward, trying to get around the defense. Shot sent on, goaltender makes a save. Fargo player goes barreling into his own net. Net comes off, and we get a whistle. 9 minutes, 11 seconds to play here in the second period. Still 0-0 between the Aviators and the Freeze. Shots shown in favor of the Aviators, 13-9, which isn't correct because they had 2 or 3 shots there that Blake had to make big saves on. Mason Fargo's line comes out for the Aviators. He'll take the face-off. He's got Nicholson to his right, Wyatt by to his left, Henderson and Daxon on defense. Fargo wins this one. They backhand it over to the far side. kept in by Henderson, sends one off the wall, gets it to Mason Fargo. Fargo brings it down into the corner. Uses this big frame, works it out front, got it to Wyatt. Mason gets it back, bouncing puck. Fargo gets it out in the neutral zone. They'll push this one down into the Aviators' end. Henderson will chase after this one behind his own net, picks it up, feeds it up the wall, gets it to Nicholson. Nicholson feeds it to the middle. Fargo gets it back, the backhand one towards Blake. That one goes wide, picked up by Henderson right here in the front of us. Fargo comes in to help out, backhanded over to the far side. Daxon goes over to pick this one up. Gets it up to Fargo. Fargo out of the zone, working on the defenseman, poked away from him. Backhanded back down in. Daxon picks it up, feeds it over to Henderson. Henderson tries to feed it up to Nicholson, but Fargo got a stick on that, was able to keep it in. Daxon goes behind his own net, brings it around to Wyatt. Wyatt feeds it up to Fargo, went off his skate, now tries again. Fargo gets control, and they turn it right back towards the Aviators' end. Daxon behind his own net. Skates this one forward, trying to get around one winger. Brings it into the Fargo's end. Tried to send it through the middle. That one off the skate. Fargo turns it right back out into the neutral zone. But wide by slows things down. Picks it up. Takes a look. Feeds it through the middle. That's off the mark. Trying to hit Kulak as he came off the bench. Benson with a big hit at the blue line. Keeps that one out. Fargo steals it away from Kulak though. Kulak gets it right back. He gets his stick lifted but stays with it. Brings it into the zone. Down the right side. Shot sent on. Got partially blocked. Went up and over the net. Fiala jumps on this one. He's got it at the blue line. Shot through traffic. Goaltender makes the save. Blasky trying to get there for the rebound, but cleared into the corner. Now to the point. Benson with a big shot. Whistles by the far post. Kulak keeps that one in. Gets it down to Fiala. Fiala down to Blasky. Blasky works it back up the sidewall. Feeds it over to Benson with some space. Big shot coming here. Goaltender makes the save. And we get a whistle and a face-off coming in the far end. 7 minutes, 9 seconds to go. Shots starting to jump up now, 14-12 in favor of the Aviators. Now they're keeping a little better track. Fiala's line will stay out there. Benson and Jace will stay at defense. Mason to take the face off. Tied up into the corner, sent up the wall, comes to Kulak at the point. He makes a move around one player, gets shoved off the puck, comes to Shower, lost handle, got it to Fiala. Fiala takes a look, sends it through the middle. In on net, goaltender makes the save, holds on. We'll get another face-off. Oh, still 0-0 here with 6:57 to play in the second period. Comes loose over to Shower. Shower trying to chip it back to Kulak. Fargo's able to chip it out. Benson's going to have to race to get back to this one in his own zone. Getting hooked up a little bit here. Gets rode off the puck there. Picked up by Showers. He comes back to help out his defenseman. Shower feeds up the wall, gets to Blasky. Blasky feeds it over, gets it to Fiala at center ice. Skates it into the zone. He's all alone now as Kulak looped around. Fiala shot off. Goaltender makes the save. Comes loose along the sidewall. Fargo's able to work this one out. They feed it forward, get it past Benson. Kulak trying to hurry to help his goaltender. That one whistles by Blake wide. Fargo gets out in the corner here. They look to send one out front. That goes off of Benson's skate to the far side. Fargo tried to feed it out to their defenseman. It comes out in the neutral zone. They got to regroup. Knocked away here. Picked up by Blasky. Blasky with a shot through traffic. Gets blocked. Fargo trying to feed this one out. They chip it up the wall. Charlie, the lone defenseman, back. One-on-one. Seffi coming in to help. Blockered away by Blake there. Picked up by Seffi in front of us. She loops and takes a look. Feeds it over to Miedema. Miedema sends it over to the near side. Trying to hit Berg. That was a little bit in front of him. Fargo gets control in their own zone. They go D to D. They elect to just ice this one. So we're going to face off back down in the Fargo end. Maybe they're trying to move the puck around a little bit more. Getting their heads up, making passes, just not quite as crisp as they would hope. Which has been leading to some odd man rushes for Fargo. But Seffi's line out there for the Aviators. She'll take the face off. Easton and Charlie on defense. Owen Berg and Kanyana will be her defenseman as this one gets sent all the way down for icing. We'll just leave the camera where it is because we're going to reset and do it all over again. 6 minutes and 1 second left to go here, second period. In a deadlock game, 0-0 shots, 15-14 in favor of the Aviators. Seffi taking the face off, bouncing puck comes loose. Berg picks up, backhands one to Seffi. Seffi shot on, goaltender makes the save. Nifty little play there by Berg and Seffi. Not find a way to get one past this goaltender. Miedema feeds one forward. That goes off a stick. Comes back to Miedema. He backhands one out towards center ice, but Fargo steals it away and they feed it into the zone. Easton Green feeds one through the middle. Fargo's able to keep it in. Back to Easton. Sends one up the wall. Fargo steals that away. They send it back down in the corner. Comes over to the near side. Charlie will get on it first. He backhands one up to Berg. Berg stick lift, sends it all the way down. Fargo will chase after this one in their own zone. Berg chasing after him, and so is Cade and Yana. They elect to send it up the wall. Comes to Easton Green. He chips and sends it down the wall. Comes to Mason Fargo. He feeds it back to Easton. Easton sends one towards the net. Tipped. That was Yana, short side. Almost tipped it in the back of the net. Looked like it went off the side of the net. Fargo with control. They go behind their own net. They chip this one up the wall. Charlie steps up, seals that off, keeps it down low. Fargo still with it, though, and they'll chip this one out. Knocked down by Charlie. He's trying to keep it in. Comes to Berg, back to Charlie. Charlie backhands one in the zone. He'll go for a change as Daxon comes out. Send around to the near side. Off the skate, comes out in the neutral zone. There's a chance for Fargo. They're behind the defense. Daxon trying to get back. Rolls in on Blegg. A little bit of pushing and shoving here as Easton Green. Oh, looks like it'll be one for sure. Daxon on the slash. And then Easton Green as well for roughing. Slash on the goalie. So it looks like it'll be a 5-on-3. Terrible call here. Just complete blindness. Not really sure what we're doing here on the ref's part. It'll be Kulak and By playing forward here with Henderson on defense. Kulak's going to take the face off. Tied up at the dot. Henderson will slide forward, grab this puck. He backhands one out, pushes it all the way down. And that'll go for icing. So only 8 seconds ticked off on the penalties here to the Aviators. A 5-on-3 opportunity for Fargo. Golden opportunity for them to get on the board first here. 4:17 remaining in the second period. Fargo with it. They work it out to the point, now to the far side. Wide trying to steal this one away at the blue line. Fargo works it down on the near side corner. Shot sent on, back door. That one defended by Henderson, tipped it wide. Henderson trying to skate this one out. Pushes it forward. He's going to chase after this one. This one's going to roll in on the goaltender. Puck comes loose. Henderson trying to get that shot off. Had a wide open net as the goaltender came out to play it, but couldn't quite get a stick on it. It'll come loose to the far side. Kulak with it. Chips it, goes down in the corner. Works it to the behind the net. Got it stolen away. Fargo pushes it up the wall. Comes to Wyatt. Wyatt backhands one down in the corner. Minute 10 to go on the 2 penalties to the Aviators. Wyatt trying to defend here. Pushed down into the zone. Benson will chase after this one. Into the corner. Gets bumped off the puck. Lone player all alone out front for Fargo, but they didn't see him as they worked this one out front. Nice job of defending there by Benson. They go D to D at the top of the point. Working it off the sidewall. Shot sent through traffic. That goes off of Blake's stick. Keeps it out of the back of the net. Ends up behind the net here. Now on the near side corner, they send one out front. Kulak trying to settle this one down. Goes over to the far side. Fargo gets on it first. They feed it back door. Find the back of the net. So the first goal of the game goes to Fargo on a 5-on-3 power play. With 27 seconds left before they would have been back to 5-on-5. And the Aviators go down by 1. So 2:52 remaining in the second period. They trail by 1. So 1 penalty killed. 27 seconds still to go on the power play for Fargo. Miedema with it. Feeds it forward. That splits everybody. Fargo sends it back in. Picked off by Benson. Feeds it up to Fiala. Fiala trying to get around the defenseman. Lost the handle on that one. Fargo will get control. They ring it around the far side. Comes out to the point. Comes out in the neutral zone. Blasky picks it up. He skates it back down. Kills some more time. About 5 seconds to go here on the power play. Blasky backhands one up the wall. Gets to Miedema. Miedema to the middle. Hands it off to Fiala. Fiala down the right side. Feeds it out front. Benson trying to poke that one in, but couldn't quite. And there's an opportunity. Breakaway for Fargo. They skate in. Trying to get Blake to move. Beat him on a quick little move, and now a 2-goal lead for Fargo. So 2:06 to go here, second period, a 2-0 lead for Fargo as they score on a 5-on-3, and then just as the penalties expire, and get another one to extend their lead to 2. Seffi's line comes out for the Aviators. Fargo with it. They try to bring it in. Defended nicely by Henderson. They feed one to the middle. This one comes over to the near side. Picked up by Daxon. He skates this one up. Gets to Seffi. She chips it into the zone. Chases after it. Fargo gets there first. They send it up the wall. Comes out to Daxon. Daxon with a shot. That one whistles wide. Comes over to Henderson on the far side. He spins away from one. Goes down. Picked up by Fargo. They'll chip this one out. Kept in by Daxon at the point. He sends it back down. Goes off a body. Now gets it down below the goal line. Yana gets after it. Tries to feed it out front. Gets all the way through. Seffi trying to get there. Daxon will send one at the net. That got blocked. Daxon gets it back. Sends it down the wall. Gets it to Berg. Berg takes a look. Tried to send it to Yana. Daxon was able to keep that one in. And Fargo will get it back out. 2-on-1 here. Aviators hustling back though. They send it to the middle. Shot sent in. Back of the net. Aviators took the shooter. Left the wide open guy out front all alone, and it makes it a 3-0 game. Aviators did a nice job of back checking there, but took the wrong guy. Left the wide open guy out front. And now it's 3-0 Fargo with 1:08 to play here in the second period. Face off one back, comes to Kulak. Loops in his own end, sends over the far side to Benson. Benson through the middle, hits Fargo. Fargo feeds it down into the far side corner. He'll chase after it. Fargo will get on it. The freeze, excuse me, will get on it first. Big hit there by Mason. Comes out to Benson. Benson sends it down. Gets it to Wyatt. Knocked off of his stick. Fargo will skate this one forward. Chipped up off the wall. Kulak slides over to try to defend this. Fargo will get on this one first. Shot sent on. Blockered away by Blake. Kulak will send it up the wall. Gets it to Wyatt. Wyatt feeds it to the middle to Fargo. Fargo down the far side. Trying to get around the defenseman. Had that one poked off of his stick. Slows things down. Tied up in the corner. They ring it around to the near side. Fargo gets on it first. They send it up the wall. Comes out to Kulak. Kulak keeps it in the zone. Not very deep, though. And Fargo's able to chip this one out. Goes off a couple players. Benson has to wait for Nicholson to get on side. Slows things up at the wall here. They're right in front of the Aviators bench. Tied up in some skates. Players trying to dig it out. Looks like it finally comes loose. Comes to Mason Fargo. He backhands one over to Wyatt. Wyatt got a shot up, but just right at the little pushing and shoving. Not sure what's going on. Obviously, a late hit there after the whistle. Both refs with their back turned don't see anything. Absolutely terrible fucking call. They have no idea what they're doing. Worst ref I've ever seen. It's terrible. Absolutely terrible. Something that had nothing to do with what was going on, and they're picking up puck. The one guy was reading his watch, seeing what a text message said. Either way, 3-0 here after 2 periods, 17 minutes up on the board. Aviators got a lot of work to do here. Aviators trailing now in the shot department 19-17. Also trailing by 3 here. Face off coming, get the third period underway. This one pushed forward. Aviators trying to get control. Blasky trying to get that one. It's pushed back out in the neutral zone. Picked up by Henderson. Henderson over to Daxon. Daxon through the middle off the mark. Picked up by Fiala though. Feeds it forward. Trying to get it to Shower. Fiala has to dump this one in. Stopped by the goaltender behind his own net. Send up the wall here. Battle for the wall. Shower lost his edge. Fargo trying to feed this one out. They're just going to dump this one down for icing. And we're going to face off back down in the Fargo end. It looks like it'll be a Fiala line. Actually, they're going to change that out. It'll be Seffi line coming out for the Aviators. Hornberg and Cadenyana with her. It'll be Kulak and Benson on defense. Puck in the corner, comes out to Kulak, feeds it to the middle, gets to Benson. He slides it down the slot, shots in on goaltender, makes a blocker save. Over the near side, Seffi tries to get there first. She'll get control. She tries to send it back to Caden. Caden backhands one down into the corner. Berg will come over and try to steal this puck away. Fargo will keep control. They'll send it up the sidewalk. Pass to the far side. Berg coming over to try to steal that one away. Another penalty coming on the Aviators here. It's another phenomenal call. So we're going to face off in the far end. 15:55 remaining here, third period. 5-on-4 opportunity for Fargo Freeze. Tied up at the dot. They backhand one out in the neutral zone. They'll have to chase down this one back in their own end. Fargo gets on it first. Seffi putting the pressure on. Stolen away by Caden. Looks like Seffi will steal this one in the corner. Feeds it out to Caden. Caden trying to get around the defenseman. Fargo will get control. They'll work it out in the neutral zone. Benson and Kulak, the defenseman. They slow it up at the blue line. Send over to the far side. Seffi steals that one away, trying to get this one out. She'll feed it out in the neutral zone. Fargo will have to regroup. They'll work this one into the zone right down Main Street. Trying to get around Kulak. Shots in on. Blake blockers that one away. Tied up in the corner. Seffi trying to get control. Now Kulak has it. He works it out in front of his own goaltender. Chips this one up. Looks like it'll go off a light, and we'll get a whistle and a face-off back down in the Aviators' end. So 1 minute and 3 seconds left to go on the power play here for Fargo. 14:58 to go in the third period. 3-0 hockey game. Fargo leads the Aviators. Aviators with some penalty trouble. Some on their own, some on the side of the refs. There's a loose puck as Wyatt tries to dig this one loose. Had it knocked off of his stick. Mason Fargo trying to get a hand on this one, but Fargo will pick this one up, bring it back down to the Aviators' end. They slow things down. They're still in the power play for the next 40 seconds. Shot sent on, goes off a stick, hits the glass behind the net. Fargo will ring it around to the near side. Tied up by Easton Green. Puck down below the goal line. Fargo gets on it first. They'll ring it up to the point. Mason Fargo trying to poke this one out. Fargo was able to keep it in, but then they chip it into the Aviators box, and we'll get a face-off outside the zone. Well, Fiala line comes out for the Aviators. Looks like it'll be Daxon and Henderson on defense. Still 18 seconds left here on the penalty to the Aviators. This one pushed forward by Fiala. Fargo will get control. Knocked away there by Henderson, but Fargo keeps it in the zone, goes off a body, keep it in at the blue line. Fiala trying to get control of it. He ties up his man along the boards. Fargo turns, fires one in. Blake kicks it into the corner. Daxon chases after it. Fargo sends it over to the near side. Back to 5-on-5 hockey. Blasky trying to chip this one forward. It's tied up along the boards. Feeds it over to Fiala, but that's a little bit off the mark. Fargo gets control, and they send it back out in the neutral zone. Shower comes in, steals that one away, skates it forward, trying to make a move around. Blasky gets control, backhands it down in the corner, but that's stolen away. Fargo has control. They go behind their own net. They send it up the wall, comes over to Blasky, goes off of his stick. Shower comes over, steals it away, tries to send it down in the corner, goes off the ref, and Fargo will just dump this one all the way down. We'll get an icing call and a face-off back down here in the Fargo end. 13 minutes and 9 seconds to play here in this third period. Aviators trailing by 3. Shots showing 20-19 in favor of Fargo now. Fiala's line will be out there for the Aviators. Mason will take the face-off. Kulak and Benson will be the defensemen. We'll face off one back, comes to Benson. Turns, goes off a Fargo player. It looks like they're going to say it's offsides, though. We're going to face off just outside the zone. Mason will take the face-off for the Aviators. Face-off push forward. Mason brings it in the zone, but stolen away right away, and Fargo turns it right back. Dumps it down in the corner. Kulak will go after this one. He picks it up, elects to go behind his own net, uses Benson as a screen, feeds it up the wall, gets it up to Shower. Shower cuts it to the middle, slows things down, hands it off to Benson. Benson works it through, trying to get through the defense. Down below the goal line, feeds it through. That slipped through the blue paint. Stolen away in the slot here by Blasky. Gets on a forehand shot, blockered away. Backhanded over here to the near side again. Fargo gathers that one up. They'll work it out in the neutral zone. They dump it down in the Aviators' end. Blake will slow things down, hands it off to Kulak. Kulak feeds one up, gets it up to Fiala. Fiala to the blue line, now into the zone. Tries to feed it to the middle. Aviators going for a change. Blasky couldn't quite get there. Fargo with control. They send it off the wall. Stolen away by Berg. He feeds it to the middle. Couldn't quite get a handle on that one. Fargo will get it back. They'll send it off the glass. It comes out to played by a high stick here, they say, as Easton Green tried to knock that one down. So we're going to face off all the way down in the Aviators' end. Trying to get it focused down there a little bit. 11:56 to play here in the third period. Fargo wins the control. They work it out to the point. Shots in on. Blake kicks that one into the corner. Picked up by Berg. Berg with it. Got it out in the neutral zone, but Fargo stole it away and they send it back down in. Fargo with control in the corner. Send up the wall. Yana with it, trying to feed it to the middle. That went off a skate, comes loose. Fargo works this one in, gets a shot up. Blake easily gloves that one, holds on. We're going to face off. 11:27 to go here, third period. Aviators still trailing by 3. Mason Fargo's line will come out for the Aviators. Mason to take the face off. He's got Wyatt and Luke with him. Jackson and Henderson will be the defensemen. Push forward here by Mason. Gets it up to Henderson, who slipped through as well. He'll bring it down the near side. Works it to the middle. Lost the handle on that one. Puck loose, picked up by Henderson. Henderson spins away. Works it through the middle. Puck loose. What the fuck are you guys doing? Whistle there. Goalie didn't even have the puck covered. It was loose, and they blow the whistle. Fargo wins this one back. Comes to Wyatt. Wyatt sends it over, trying to get to Daxton. Went off of Fargo's stick. Daxton has to retreat. Sends it off the wall. Gets it forward. Comes to Nicholson. Nicholson back into the zone. Spins. Slows things down. Sends it off the wall. Back to Daxton. That one's off the mark. Daxton's got to retreat into his own zone. Bumps the player off the puck along the wall. Tied up. Pushes it forward. Fargo comes in. Steals that one away, though. Nicholson trying to feed this one up the wall. He gets bumped off the puck. Comes loose. Mason Fargo picks it up. Feeds it forward to Daxton. Daxton gets his stick knocked out of his hand. Fargo's is going to dump this one in, but it's going to go into the Aviators bench, so we're going to face off out in the neutral zone here. Looks like it'll be the Fiala line out there. He pushes this one forward, but Fargo steals it away, and they'll work it into the zone. On the far side, shots in on. Blake makes the save. Benson trying to poke this one out of the zone. Big hit along the boards, knocks down a Fargo player. Blasky gets spun off the puck, but gets it up to Fiala. Fiala with it. Brings it into the zone. Backhands one towards the goaltender. He makes the save. Puck loose. Fargo gets on it. Clears it out of harm's way. It'll come over the near side wall. Blasky trying to steal this one away. Battle for it. Shower in there as well. Comes to Blasky. Now Fargo, they feed it to the middle, trying to break this one out, but Benson steps up. Here's nice shot sent on there by Shower, tipped out front by Blasky, and the Aviators find the back of the net finally, making it a 3-1 game with 9:54 to go here in the third period. Kind of a busted play. A nice job by Benson at the point to slide up, keep that puck in. Shower just turns the sides to fire one, even though he didn't get solid one out of Blasky with a stick out front. Maybe a little bit of screen in front of the goaltender. And the Aviators are able to find the back of the net. Seffi's line comes out for the Aviators. Sohenberg to her right, Caden Yana to her left. Kulak and Benson on defense. Comes back to Kulak. Kulak goes over to Benson. Benson tries to feed it forward. That goes off of Fargo's stick. They'll have control in the neutral zone. Actually, they elect to bring it into their own zone now. Out in the neutral zone, pass off the mark. That one will go all the way down. That'll go for icing. And we're going to face off back down here in the Fargo end. 9:36 to play here. Seffi's line will stay out there, but looks like, Jason Benson will stay out as well. Looks like Berg will take the face off. Push forward. Fargo gets control. They go behind their own net. Seffi putting the pressure on, though. Forces them to turn the other way. They'll work it up the far side wall. Comes out in the neutral zone. Through the middle. This one will roll in on Blake. He'll elect to just cover it up, and we're going to face off down in the Aviators end. So 9:21 to go here. 3-1. Fargo leads. Mason Fargo's line comes out. He'll take the face off. Face off one back comes to Easton Green. He got bumped off the puck, but Mason Fargo steals it back. Feeds it up the wall, gets it to Nicholson. Nicholson feeds it back to Mason Fargo. Fargo brings it in, trying to work on the defense. Comes around. Gets swallowed up by a couple Fargo players here. Puck comes loose. By pushes one through the blue paint. Fargo will get on this one first. Sent through the middle. Glove down by a Fargo player. He'll skate it forward. Working on Minima. Minima forces him to the outside backhand. Sent on, but Minima got a stick on that one. Blocked it away. Comes loose to Nicholson. He feeds it through the middle. Out to the point, but kept in. Shot sent on. Blake gloves that one. Holds on, and we'll get a face off. Face off. Tied up. Comes loose to Daxton. He sends it up the wall. It'll come to Fiala. Fiala tried to chip it out, but Fargo's able to keep it in. They dump it back down. Daxton goes behind the net to pick this one up. He sends one over to the far side, picked up by Shower. Shower feeds one forward, gets it to Fiala. Fiala elects to dump it in. I'll come to the boards right here in front of us. Blasky on the attack. Fargo gets there first. They ring it around to the far side. Daxton will slide down to keep this one in. He pushes one up to Shower. Shower in the corner, spins away, feeds it back to Daxton. Daxton slows it down. Shot sent on through traffic. Goaltender makes a glove save, holds on. We'll get a face-off. 8:06 to go here. Fargo leading 3-1. Face off one back comes to Henderson. Henderson tried to get a shot off. That got blocked. Fargo will skate this one out in the neutral zone. Henderson will try to steal this one back. Fargo was able to push it down into the corner. Daxton picks it up. He's got a little bit of space in front of him. He'll skate this one forward. Gets it over the red line. Now over the blue line. Brings it down in. Had it knocked off of his stick. Fargo gets control. They'll send this one up the wall. Comes to Daxton again. Trying to get control of it. Tied up along the wall. It's sent over to the near side. Benson slides over. Sent out into the neutral zone. Looks like it was sent in off sides, even though Fargo did that. But whatever, down here, that I guess is offsides. So Steffi will take the face off here. Her line out there for the Aviators. Kulak and Benson on defense. Steffi ties it up at the dot, pushes into the zone, but Fargo's able to clear it right back out. Steffi dumps it back down in. It'll come behind the net. Caden Yana comes back, steals that one away, tries to feed it to the front. Puck loose. Sent over to the sidewall. Yana trying to get this. He gets knocked down. Berg trying to steal it away. Fargo's able to feed it out into the neutral zone, but stolen away by Kulak. He backhands one down into the zone again. Flipped out by Fargo. Kulak comes up, steals it away, tries to feed it over to Benson, but Fargo steals it away from Benson. Arm goes up as he yanked down a Fargo player that was in all alone. And a power play coming for Fargo here with 6:54 to play. A face-off coming down in the Aviators' end. Shot showing 24-24, but Fargo leads 3-1 here on the scoreboard. Caden. Wonder why Seffi was the one that went off, so it'll be Owen Berg and Caden Yana will be the forwards. Looks like it's Charlie and Easton on defense. One back by Fargo. They go D to D at the blue line. They work it down the sidewall. Now they feed it to the middle. Big save there by Blake. Fargo keeps it in. They work it down below. They feed it out to the point. Kept in at the blue line. Sent down the sidewall. Charlie goes behind his own net. Try to poke this one away. Fargo has control. They work it off the sidewall. They feed it out to the point again. Shot sent on. Gets tipped out front and in the back of the net. Another power play goal for Fargo as they make it a 3-goal lead once again here in third period. Well, 6:22 to go. 3-goal lead for Fargo here. Face off center ice. One back by the Aviators. Daxon chips this one off the wall, gets to Nicholson. Nicholson feeds it forward, trying to get it to Fargo. Mason Fargo gathers it up, shots it on. Goaltender makes the save, comes into the near side corner. Fargo chips it down into the corner, comes to Nicholson. Nicholson feeds it back, comes up to the point. Here's Daxon, shots it on through traffic, and then finds the back of the net. So the Aviators cut that lead back down to 2 quickly right after that power play goal by Fargo and make it a 4-2 game. 6:02 left to go here in the third period. I believe it was tipped out front. I don't know if it went off an Aviator or not. Daxon took the shot from the point, was able to get a wrist shot off on net. Hit something out front, beat the goaltender. And we got a 4-2 game. Arm up. Icing call there, and we're going to face off back down on the Aviators' end. So Benson and Jace will come out on defense here for the Aviators. Mason Fargo's line will stay out there as the forwards. Fargo wins that. They send it over to the near side. Nicholson gets on it first. He backhands one back to Kulak. Kulak rings it around to the near side to Benson. Benson pushes that one forward, but not out. Kept in by Fargo. Benson gets slew-footed. No call there. Fargo skates this one in the slot. Shots in on. Big save there by Blake as he outstretched the leg and kept that one out of the back of the net. Made a first save on it. There was a rebound. A Fargo player standing there, back door all alone, tried to just push it in the net, but Blake was able to stretch that leg out and keep it out. That's a big save by the Aviators goaltender. Oh, Fiala line comes out for the Aviators. This line hasn't been able to get much going here. They were out there for a goal. At least Blasky was and Shower, but they haven't got a lot going on. Penalty coming here to somebody. I'm sure it's on the Aviators, but Blake went off. As soon as Fargo touched it, though, a whistle, and we'll get a power play for the Aviators here. Holding call on Fargo. So we're going to face off down here in the Fargo end. 2 minutes up on the board. 5:06 left in the third. Aviators trailing by 2. This is a big spot for them. They need to poke one in on the power play here. Cut this game down to a 1-goal lead. It'll be the Fiala line. Henderson and Daxon out on defense. Tied up at the dot. Fargo gets on it first. They'll send it up the wall. Comes loose to Fiala. Fiala looks. Sends it back to Blasky. Blasky sends it over to Henderson near side. Henderson works it to the middle. Sends it over to Blasky. That was off the mark. Fargo tried to chip this up the wall, but Blasky does a nice job of sealing that off. Puck behind the net here. Fiala comes back and steals that one away. He works it up the sidewall. Slowing things down. Gives it off to Shower to Henderson. Henderson shot on. Goaltender makes a save. They'll try to chip this one out. Daxon will keep it in at the point. Shots in on through traffic. That one whistles high and over the net. Comes to Shower on the near side. Feeds it over to Henderson. Henderson works it to the middle. Shots in on. Goaltender makes the save. Nobody out front. Fargo will chip this one forward. Daxon will push it back, but Fargo's able to chip it down into the Aviators' end. Henderson goes behind his net to pick it up. About a minute, 5 seconds left on the power play here. Henderson feeds it up the wall, gets it to Shower. Shower skates this one forward. Makes a move. Cuts it to the middle, trying to get by one last player. Sent out to the point, kept in by Daxon at the point. He backhands one down the slot. Fargo's going to try to feed it out, but it comes to Fiala. Fiala slips by one. Tries to get over to Shower. Puck loose out front. Shower couldn't quite get a handle on that one. This one's sent out all the way down the ice. I don't think it'll go all the way down. Blake tries to feed it up to Fiala. Fargo has control of it. 29 seconds left to go in the power play. They feed it up back out in the neutral zone. Now back into their own zone. Playing keep away from the Aviators here. Comes out. Seffi put a nice little bit of pressure on there. Puck comes out in the neutral zone, picked up by Kulak. Off the ref once again. Benson steals it away. He'll skate this one in. Slips it around. Benson gets tripped up there by a foot, but he has it again. Comes back to Caden. Got a shot sent on. That one goes wide. Back to 5-on-5. Opportunity for Fargo there as they had a player behind the defense, but they weren't able to find him. This one brought in. Benson defending. Knocks the player off the puck. Comes to Berg. He sends it up the wall. Now loose to Yana. Yana trying to push it forward. They'll come up to the blue line, but not out. Fargo backhand this one down in. This one will end up going behind the net. Picked up by Kulak. Backhands one up to Berg. Berg sends it off the wall. Gets it to Seffi. Seffi feeds it through the middle, trying to find Yana. Yana trying to get through the defense. Couldn't quite get a handle on that puck. Another trip there on Fargo, but no call. It's sent around to the far side. There's Seffi in the far side corner. Picks it up. About 2 minutes to play here. She sends it through the middle. Gets it to Berg. Aviators go for a change. Berg on his own. Cutting through the defense. Works it in. Got it on net. Couldn't quite get a shot off there. There's Fargo. Steals it away. Feeds one out front, but nobody home. Bouncing puck. Loose in the blue paint here, but Aviators not able to poke it in. Comes down to Fargo in the corner. He slips around one man. Works it out to the point. Comes to Miedema. Miedema shots it on. Tipped by Fargo. Doesn't make it to the net. Empty net for the Aviators. Fargo trying to get it out. Mason Fargo feeds it down low. Fargo's able to get it out. They have a wide open net to shoot at. They dump it down in. That one ends up in the back of the net. An empty net goal. And a 3-goal lead once again for Fargo. I'll pretty much do it here for this one as Fargo's regained a 3-goal lead. On an empty net goal as the Aviators pulled the goalie trying to cut this lead down, but unsuccessful. We got about 1:20 to play here. Daxon feeds that one forward, gets it to Mason. Fargo brings it in. Works it to the middle, gets it in the slot, hands it off to Henderson. Henderson shot set on that one, whistles wide. It'll ring around, comes out to Daxon. Daxon rings it around down low. It comes to Wyatt. Wyatt backhands one to Nicholson. Nicholson through the middle, feeds it out to Daxon. Daxon tried to feed it over to Henderson, whiffed on that one. Fargo stole it away. They work it out into the neutral zone. Blake makes the save on that one, holds on him. We're going to face off in the Aviators' end. 51 seconds to go here. Even game on the score or on the shot department, 29-29 at the moment. But a 5-2 lead for Fargo. They'll hold on to that, I'm sure, here over the next 51 seconds. Mason Fiala gets ready to take the face off. Not a good game here for the Aviators. They looked all out of sorts for a lot of this game. Few plays that looked nice, but couldn't seem to get anything going. Found themselves in the penalty box way too often. You got about 30 seconds to go here. These are the games that you want to win, especially when they're a league game and your only game of the weekend. You want to come out strong, put everything you got into it, especially when they got one game. Here's a chance for Fiala. He makes a move. Backhands one towards the net. Goaltender makes the save. "15 seconds to go here. Fiala with it. One into the corner, picked up by Blasky and Shower. Fed out to the point, comes to Kulak. Feeds it down the wall. Fargo gets control. They'll chip this one out. That'll pretty much do it as we got about 3 seconds to go here. Benson rings it all the way around. Fargo celebrates like they won the Stanley Cup, and that's the end of this one. A 5-2 loss for the Aviators. Not a good one here this evening. But like I said, that is the only one they got all weekend. So we will get those games put up on Facebook for next weekend. I think we got 3 of them, so keep an eye out for that. But that is it for us this evening. As always, we appreciate joining us, and we will see you next time.